Hello and welcome to my birthday party. Thank you for coming today. We are just setting up here. We're getting a little crazy. They've started doing shots and jumping off the roof. Oh, y'all people over there, y'all keep it down, please. There's just so much going on today. Today I am turning 27. I know I'm getting up to unk status, but I always watch the girls on YouTube who do their videos that are like 27 things I learned at 27 or 30 things I wish I would have known before 30. And I feel like a lot of people give really good advice. They give really great insight. And I haven't uploaded on this channel in a good second. So I thought, why not just share a few tidbits that I feel like I've learned throughout the year. If you're new here, my name is Alicia, and I started this YouTube channel about like a year and a half now. This year was completely different than what I thought it was going to be. This time last year, I was in a completely different space. I thought it was a good idea to sit down and film with you guys, and we can just chat about the things that I've learned. And I feel like 27 things is a lot of things. So we might keep it cute and simple. I might just do 7 things for 27. This year has been really pivotal. Pivotal? My mom at the beginning of the year had explained to me how year 2025, like she believes in like all those like woo woo type of energy things and like aura and like the numbers. As you can see back here, I have some numbers set up. And she told me that the year 2025 is supposed to be a year number 9, and next year 2026 is supposed to be year number 1. Your 9 years are supposed to unravel everything that's not meant for you, almost deconstructing everything you thought was supposed to be in your plan, but really it wasn't. I don't really know what all that means. That's just what she told me. And I feel like it's true for just all the situations, all the things that have literally crumbled before my eyes this year. I don't have a cupcake or anything like that, but I have an Alani and I have a candle. So we're gonna do a little brindis with the candle, okay? Woo! We have cherry twist. And I'm just gonna stick this guy. Try not to light my house on fire. Okay. I hope year 2027 is a lot nicer to me, and I wish that anything that is for me finds me, and that I continue to feel loved and supported by people who care about me, and I can support and love people who I care about. I hope I walk more into my purpose this year. And I'm really grateful for everything this year taught me, even if it was a rough way. But yeah, here's to 2026. Woo! Okay. And I do need to drink this because I am getting tired. I'm getting sleepy. Okay. Okay. I fucks with it. I feel like sometimes I forget what I was up to, like the entire year. That's why I like to document my like experiences and vlog and post on Instagram and that kind of stuff. So let me look. What did I get up to this year? We hosted a Halloween party last year. We went to a lot of vacations, spent a lot of time with my family, traveled to cabins. I spent a lot of time at the beach. Oh, I went to my first like influencer event. This is a year that I finally started calling myself like a content creator, because I felt phony baloney talking about myself like that. So I filmed a lot in public this year. I filmed a lot of our trips, and I started a run club this year. And today we actually had our first yoga meet, and that went super well. It was really exciting. And actually, this summer, me and my cousin joke around that we got the curse of the bad turtle, or La Mala Tortuga is the joke that we have, because my cousin, she came down to visit. She hit a turtle on the way out of the springs that we went to go visit. And literally everything that could go wrong went wrong right after she hit that turtle. Everything, literally like stepping blocks. Her tire blew. My dad got in a wreck. We had to take him to the hospital. She almost died on a helicopter ride. We both got really, really sick. We both came down with like bronchitis. My relationship started falling apart. Ran out of money. The office that I worked at closed down and we all got laid off. Yeah, all in a matter of like a month. And so, yeah, this year has definitely taught me a lot. When I reflect back, I realize everything wasn't really in my control. Like there were things that I tried to salvage, but at the end of the day, things that aren't meant for you, you kind of can't force them, you know? So I'm really hoping that I can take a little bit of wisdom into next year as I turn 27 and then I turn 28. And like these are my last years of my 20s. So I'm actually really excited for my 30s. I have this like gut feeling that my 30s are actually going to be pretty good. Knock on wood. Like I really hope they are really good. My 20s, they were chaotic, but I feel like everybody's 20s are really chaotic. Also making YouTube videos and doing TikToks and shorts and all this kind of stuff, it's really taught me a lot of lessons, just confident wise and self-esteem wise. And I feel like year 26 really was transformative, but also going backwards. Like, what did I like to do as a kid? What did I like to spend my time on? Who did I want to be with? Um, what excited me? What brought me joy? That kind of stuff. So, the first lesson that I wrote down is that confidence is built by doing. At first, like, obviously, my first video on YouTube wasn't very good. So was my first TikTok. So was my first shorts. But obviously, like, that's my first time doing it. You really need to harness and practice. And a big thing that taught me to let go of perfectionism is that you have to just start wherever you are, just make whatever you are wanting to make and then perfect it, then make it better. But you really can't do anything if you don't even take that first step because you need it to be perfect for it to be out there. Like, don't be scared to throw your name on something and be like, yeah, this is mine and it's not great, but it's going to be better. If you feel like you struggle with confidence, just put in exercises, put in practices of you showing up as somebody who's already this higher version of yourself, somebody who already has all the things you're attaining for. I like to envision my higher self looking down on me and like if my actions are aligned with her, is she happy with what I'm working on? Or is this something that's actually going to take me a few steps back? Like if I'm trying to focus on my health and I think of my higher self and my higher self is healthy and, you know, disciplined and all that wellness stuff. And so even if it's a small step, I'm building confidence by knowing that I'm starting to show up as my higher self. Lesson number 2, how would you treat a friend? Now treat yourself that way. I felt like this was a really simple thing, right? Where we obviously want the best for our friends and we can give great advice and we can, you know, be there for them and say all the right things to a friend. But the second that something is going wrong for you and you need help, why don't you talk to yourself as a friend? I actually ended a 10-year relationship this year, like a few months ago. And that in itself has been really, really difficult to navigate. But something that made it easier and almost woke me up is that I was over here giving great ideas, great examples, and, you know, telling my friends, like, you don't deserve that. You deserve better. You shouldn't stand for that. Or, like, just like little tips of advice. It finally hit me one day where I was like, I need to speak to myself as if I'm my friend. Would I want this for my friend? Of course not. Like, I would tell her to leave. I would tell her, you know, if you want to stay, like, whatever, but I still love you. I feel like sometimes it's easier to give advice and not take your own advice. And this year, I really needed to take a step back and ask myself why I wasn't taking my advice. And it really boiled down to I was scared, and I was scared of the unknown, and I was scared to detach, and I was scared of what the future would mean. Like, not to get, oh my God, not to get super sappy, but I am obviously still moving through those feelings. But I feel like I really just want whoever's listening to this, like, maybe you can take something from this video to be kinder to yourself. If you're kind to your friends and you want the best for your friends and you treat them with dignity and respect, you should treat yourself that way. And know when something is not good for you, as easy as it is for you to spot your friends' relationships and your friends' problems and all this stuff. Even if it's not a situation like that, like even if it's work related, even if it's family related, or just the way that they're talking to themselves, like if you hear your friends talking about how ugly she is or how much she hates how she looks or hates how she walks or anything like that, and you look at them and you're like, girl, that I didn't even notice that, I didn't even see that until you pointed it out. Nobody's thinking about that, nobody cares, treat yourself with a little bit more love as you would your friend. But I really learned the value of female friendship this year. Friendship overall, but specifically female friendship. Obviously, I always knew it was important. I just didn't realize how transformative it can be when you start placing yourself in spaces that you didn't even know existed for you, with people you never knew you would cross paths with. It's been really life changing, even though it's only been oh my god, I'm such a crybaby. Even though it's only been like a couple months, but I've recently joined a group in the area that kind of popped out of nowhere. It's been here, but I just started knowing about this group. It's a really cool group of girls who meet specifically every Thursday for pickleball. They do like thrift sales, they do like rage rooms, paint and sips, and all this kind of stuff. It seemed really, really fun. It's full of women, different ages, from different places, different careers, different backgrounds, everything. The amount of acceptance that I felt going there, like even my first time, me and my friend showed up and we're like, I'm not going if you're not going. But we ended up going, and everybody has been so kind. And I've met so many awesome people. Something about a group of women deciding to go and meet other women, to go do something as simple as play pickleball and have dinner together, not really knowing each other, it's been so awesome. And I've met so many cool like boss bitches, like entrepreneurs, people who are making moves, people who are winning awards for making moves, stay-at-home moms, people who are creative, like all kinds of women. On my darkest days, like on my hardest days, the people who have been there for me have been my girlfriends, like my friendships. Like I could call them, even my cousin, even my friends back home, like friends from different states. It was always my friends who literally dragged me out of the depths. And for that, I'm so thankful. And I try to return the favor, and I try to be that for them too. But when you at least try to be there for each other, honestly, what would a man be doing there? Like what can you give me that my friends are not giving me? It almost like sets the standards for how you treat yourself with love and you treat other people with love. I know it sounds like that sounds super cheesy, but it's true. Like now, if somebody comes into my life, they're gonna be competing for what I can already get with my friendships, And my family has been there with me too, but at the end of the day, it really has been like my girls, like my girlies. Don't underestimate the power of female friendship. I wish I would have known that way earlier. Lesson number 4: implementing the self-care knowledge comes with the price of letting go of things that no longer serve you. A few years ago, when I started living on my own, I started getting really into like self-care and self-help and self-love books and all this kind of stuff. Podcasts, always talking about, sorry if you can hear the sirens, talking about the ways that you can change your life. And I would read them and be like, yeah, this is good, like this is a good idea, whatever. It really didn't start to change until this past year, where I started implementing the things that I was learning into my life and like actually absorbing the material and putting it as simple as like boundaries and self-respect and demanding space and all this kind of stuff. I just didn't realize the price I was going to have to pay was the life that I already felt comfortable in. When I started doing things like getting out of my comfort zone and setting standards and actually holding up boundaries, and I read the Mel Robbins book, that one, really helped me a lot this year, the let them theory. In her book, Mel Robbins talks about the let them theory, which is, um, accepting that you're not in the control of other people's actions. And you can spend a lot of your time stressing out over, oh my God, like they're going to do this bad decision. What should I do to change their mind? Like almost persuading people too much to see your standpoint and act in the way you would act and all this kind of stuff. But really to take a step back and just let them learn their lesson, let them make their choices, make their decisions, and all this kind of stuff. And that in itself is showing love, because you no longer are trying to dictate what the outcomes are, and to instead focus on let me and what can I do in this situation. If somebody's bothering me, I can choose to react or not react. I can choose how I'm going to say something. And focusing on your ability to respond puts you back into your own power. So, for example, a couple weeks ago, I got into kind of a passive aggressive situation with my boss. And I started spiraling, thinking she's going to fire me. She's going to fire me because I stood up for myself, or I wasn't comfortable with something and I told her I wasn't comfortable. And I spiraled that whole day. And I remembered the simple let them theory: let her fire me if she wants to fire me. And I didn't have a backup plan. I didn't have enough money for rent. I didn't know how I was going to pay rent. I had no idea what was going to happen. But instead of doing what I would have done a year earlier, which is I would have spiraled, I would have lost a lot of sleep, I would have cried myself to sleep. I was really stressed out. What am I going to do? Worst case scenario, she fires me, and then what? So I started applying for jobs. I started looking for other hiring positions. I started, emailing businesses, sending my resume, that kind of stuff. And I landed a job, and she actually did end up cutting like most of my hours. I went down from full time to 3 hours a day. Yeah. Yeah. So I was right. My intuition was right. I needed to learn to listen to my intuition, but also not let my fear really hold me down and spiral. Things that are not in my control. Something that is in my control is choosing to find another job and just preparing for the worst and preparing for impact. I didn't really know what all these self-help like lessons would really do until I started setting up things in my life to better serve me and hold my own boundaries. And slowly people have been kind of leaving. I have lost relationships that really weren't serving me. I've lost a job that wasn't serving me, didn't actually have my best interest. I lost a relationship that I never saw um, leaving. I didn't expect it to ever change. But all of that really makes room for everything that is supposed to be in my life. When I opened my first self-help book, I didn't think I would lose anything, to be honest. I thought I would just gain everything. But now I see how that's kind of silly, because you can't always gain, 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 gain. You have to let go of things, but it's not that you lost something. You can grieve it, but you can let it go. There's something different between somebody took something from me or life took something from me versus I let go of that because it no longer served me. Number 5, what number are we on? I don't know. Believing actions over words. Yeah. I've always been kind of a loosey goosey, gullible type of person where you can tell me one thing, act the complete opposite, and I will still justify why you did that. Be like, well, he said he would do this, or she said she didn't mean that, but then they go and do the complete opposite. This year literally did not let me do that anymore. I could not be any more gullible this year. I needed to start believing people really for what they do. I no longer care about how well you promise something, or I'm going to try my best and I will change, or I didn't mean that, I'll never do it again, kind of a deal. Yeah, it's just a lot of bullshit at this point. That was one of the hardest lessons, because I feel like I always want to believe the best in people and believe their intentions, and it's just kind of hard, especially when you trust somebody for a really long time, that they have been telling you the truth. But yeah, I guess there's not much more to say on that one. Just believe people's actions over their words. I know, pivotal, but pivotal, pivotal. Crazy concept, but I did not get it through my noggin until year 2025. But better late than never, right? The next lesson is the act of showing up even when things flop. For example, my run club. I decided on a random Tuesday that I wanted to start a walking and run club for the area for girls, because I had looked around and that group didn't exist, and I really wanted to join a group like that. And I just figured, well, if it doesn't exist, why don't I just cook a little bit? And I made an Instagram, and slowly people have been showing up. Our first meet, I think, was in July. I can't remember exactly, but the group has been so amazing. I've met so many cool people, so many beautiful faces just keep returning. All ages, all paces. Like, we are a really welcoming group, and I have been so blessed with the people who have been turning out, and I'm really excited to see where it goes. But that doesn't mean that we haven't had any meets where nobody has shown up. Yeah. I've had a couple that either just one person has shown up. Shout out Andy, thank you for being a real one. But we have had some where nobody was able to make it, and it felt like a flop. I'm not gonna lie. I think my standpoint really changed when I started to think of things like, oh, nobody showed up for me today because nobody came to my run club. And started, instead of making it kind of selfish and self-centered, I started to think about it as, okay, well, I showed up for anybody who needed a walking companion. I would post the information like a few days earlier than the meet would be, and we've been meeting like every Saturday morning. I've just been showing up and being there for anyone who wanted to meet that day, instead of thinking of like, oh, they didn't show up for me, what the fuck, like. And the amount of times I'm willing to pull the plug and be like, this is dumb, like nobody wants to be a part of this, I don't even care anymore. Like, I've been there so many times already, and it's only been like a couple months, but I decided to just keep going. And it was awesome because the week right after I had been like, screw this, the next meet was the meet with the most amount of people that I've ever seen showing up. And it was awesome. And it was really wholesome. But we all got together and we walked around a park, and they brought puppies, and it was amazing. When something is just not going according to your plan, you might just not be seeing the whole picture, and it's not a reflection on you, it's just a reflection of the situation at hand. Like, maybe that day people weren't able to make it, but the next one, you never know, like they could always show up. And it's funny because my mom the other day too, she was like, I'm gonna stop showing up to these because everybody who's showing up is like really young, nobody speaks my language, it's all like 25-year-olds, and I feel out of place because she was like, I'm old. I'm not saying she's old, this is what she was saying. I don't want to go anymore. And I was like, no, 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 like, you should go, because by you being in the pictures and like people realizing like this is a Latina owned group too, and there's older people in there too, they might see you and feel more comfortable, and maybe they're holding back because they don't think they fit in with this group, but really they do. Because we're all inclusive, all inclusive, all inclusive. And I love diversity, and I think that is so important, especially in this day and age, to represent all ages, all colors, our skin colors, all cultures, all languages. Like, this is really important to me. And funny enough, the very next meet, 5 Latino women show up. My mom is over there having a blast, hee hee ha haing with them, and I'm like, who are these people? Like, I love you, but where'd you come from? And 4 of them were like older ladies, like over the age of, I want to say like 50. They were over the age of 50, which is not old, but they were just older. And I was like, this is so amazing. Like, didn't you just say you didn't want to show up anymore because you felt out of place? And then literally the people who made you feel more at home showed up and you didn't even know them. And it was really cool. And I've learned so many lessons just by having this walk group that I never intentionally like I didn't even think about it in hindsight when I started making this group. I was just kind of bored one day and decided to make this group, not thinking like what it would mean, like any opportunities that came along with it. I was just bored, to be honest. And even people now, they're like, "So you made this group and like why? And like how?" and all this stuff. And I'm like, "I don't know. I don't know. I made an Instagram. I was bored and I just started doing it every Saturday. And now we meet twice a week. Um, we're training to do 5Ks now. We did our first yoga session, which turned out so awesome. I had such a blast organizing it and getting the yoga instructor like ready to go and all this stuff and setting up like reservations and stuff like that. It was just so fun and it was awesome to see an idea come to life like that. I didn't expect it. And if you would have told me a year ago that I would be responsible for hosting a run club every week, I would have been like, who, me? I still don't run very good or at all. But I believe in everybody else who wants to run, you know? I'm just a cheerleader. I'm just there to support and get the girlies to meet and all this stuff. But yeah, so many awesome experiences. And it kind of came out of nowhere, just as I thought everything in my life was falling apart and I had no will to live and I had nothing to look forward to. All of a sudden, there it was. And it was in my face the whole time. I just didn't know what it was I was looking for. You know, I just didn't know. I didn't expect it. And then my last lesson, I'll keep this sweet and simple. If you're worried about the cost of going for it, you should see the price of staying exactly where you are. Yeah. Yeah. I feel like I needed to hear that one a while ago. Um Time passes anyway, you know. If you're worried about a goal or setting something aside to work on and you're worried because it's going to take a long time, right? It's going to take years to get that degree. It's going to take a decade to get that family you want. It's going to take a long time to build a YouTube channel that will pop off or TikTok or whatever. Or writing that book is going to take a lot of long nights after your full-time job. You know, the time will literally pass by anyway. If you have a goal, if you have a dream that you want to work towards, think about your life without that. I realized that I wanted to grow a channel. I wanted to grow a community. I wanted to at least inspire people, motivate people, show my art, you know. I wanted to create this cozy little corner in the internet of like positive positivity, positivity, um, and good vibes and like, you know, beach content and all this kind of stuff. Um, and I knew it was going to take some work, and we are still a pretty small micro channel, but I feel like you need to invest in yourself so that you can pour into other people. Something that really motivates me is what if I look back, you know, in 30, 40 years from now, and I think about all the potential that I had and I didn't act on it. Like that is probably my biggest fear is untapped potential. We literally are only given one life if you believe in that. And it's a struggle, you know, to work towards goals sometimes, but it's also a struggle to literally never have those goals fulfilled. Um yeah, it's going to be difficult, but it's also difficult to not be there. Same thing with like saving up for retirement or, you know, savings and all that kind of stuff for emergency funds. Like, yeah, it's hard to set aside money every paycheck to make sure, you know, you can invest or you can have savings or an emergency fund. But it's also really hard to not have any money when you retire or when you're ready to retire and have to work every single day of your life. So I think you should weigh both things, the cost of going for your dreams versus the cost of never even trying to go for your dreams. I think you should definitely go for it. I think that is the conclusion of this video, because those are really all the lessons that this year I've learned, and I hope next year I get to learn a whole lot more type of lessons. I am really grateful for all the support and the love that's been poured into me this year. I just would love to get to a point where I can pour that into other people too. Yeah, I really hope I live with purpose this year, and that I, just make everybody proud. I just want to make people proud, and feel heard, and maybe inspire some people, educate. This is one of those videos where I was trying to educate y'all, but as I'm hearing myself talk out loud, I'm like, girl, you don't know jack shit. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and thank you guys for spending my birthday with me. I hope the rest of your year goes really, really well. Thank you guys for being here. Cheers. Clink. I will see you guys soon in the next video. Bye.